Hanukkah, but Kwanzaa, quietly and loudly, is my absolute favorite time of the year because it's a little bit longer, right? And you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money. You can just spend your time and energy loving up on each other and educating each other about the culture. So, without further ado, we're going to pass the mic over to Brother Hatem.
What's up, fam? What's up? Hey, so first things first, let's get the Kwanzaa holiday piece. I ain't gonna say out the way because Kwanzaa is it is a non-religious, non-heroic celebration that was created in 1966 by a brother by the name of Malana Karinga. Now, the reason that he created this holiday was that he wanted to recognize African culture all over the world. So he went and he did his research and he was able to pull from some of the harvest. I think it's like harvest celebrations all over the continent using the language of Swahili. Kiswahili was chosen because Kiswahili is one of the largest language groups. But what makes Kiswahili special is that Kiswahili was a trading language. So you would have people speaking Swahili in different parts of Africa that were not connected. So you got a little bit of Arabic, you got a little bit of a whole bunch of different African languages all mixed up into this language so that they will be able to do trade amongst themselves, right? So when he came up with this idea, basically what he did was he put a methodology behind us practicing being black, right? Because it was for a lot of people that during the 60s, the late 60s, early 70s, James Brown, I hit the scene with I'm black and I'm proud, and there was a lot of stuff going on, and people were gravitating towards the culture. And Malana Karinga had the foresight to say, hey, we need to structure something so that we will be able to celebrate this. Now, nowadays, in Gye-Nyame, or in the organization I'm in, we call it a cultural stabilizing celebration, cultural stabilizing holidays. And those 7 days of Kwanzaa are there for us. Now, I want to stress, it's non-religious and it's non-heroic. So this means that everybody could participate, regardless of your faith, regardless of how you feel about the heroes, or even regardless of how you might feel about the founders or other people that celebrate Kwanzaa. It gives us a time of year because really, and then think about it, the way Kwanzaa is structured, it's structured right in that period of time of year where all of us have some downtime so that we could come together as a community and have communication, have food together, and really get into building community. Any questions or comments so far? Was,
I
it,
don't.
was I too clear? So in Kwanzaa, there are certain things that are needed. So we have the artifacts of Kwanzaa that you could go out now, and I get into the importance of the artifacts, get importance of the food, get into the importance of some of the other things, because when you look at the principles of Kwanzaa, which are called the Nguzo Saba lay the framework not just for your Kwanzaa celebration, but they lay the framework for your life, or they should. Many people do not understand that Kwanzaa is just where we kick back. Actually, Kwanzaa should be for a lot of us. It should be a kickback time where we are actually able to relax in a sense, because we have been practicing the Nguzo Saba all year long, right? Many people think that it's the celebration is the big piece. No, the celebration is celebration for those that's been doing the work. Is something that, you know what I'm saying? I'm showing all of the stuff that I have achieved and how I've been living the principles through the work and through my time spent with you throughout the year. Now it's time for us to celebrate others and to commune. Now, some of the things or some of the artifacts. Of course, I just mentioned the Nguzo Saba. Of course, we're gonna dive into the Saba, because that's really what I want to talk about. That is my area of expertise, because I honestly believe that if black folks start practicing these principles, right? Because you'll find these principles in the Bible, you find these principles in the Quran, you find these principles um, in every group that has been successful throughout time. And all Malana Karinga did was throw a method behind principles that we had used to survive through our harsh time here in America. And once we really start recognizing that and start exercising that, we will become one of the most powerful groups, if not the most powerful group in the world. So some of the artifacts, let's go through it. So we'll come back to the Nguzo Saba because I love it. Love that Nguzo Saba. All right. So you got the Nguzo Saba, which is 7 principles. You have 7 basic artifacts. Now, one of the artifacts that should show up at Kwanzaa. Let me start with the foundation. The foundation is called the mkeka. That is the straw mat on top of which you put the candles and what's called the Kwnazaa. So you have I just said it and I forgot the word. Mkeka, which is the foundation. It's mkeka. Mkeka, right? And then on top of that, you will have what's called, all right. Now forgive my candles. Get my old dusty candle. I'm gonna get some new candles, I promise. But y'all can't see it. Y'all can't see me. So and I can't show myself without throwing everybody off. So I have, what I'm holding is a Kwnazaa, which is basically a candle holder, right? Now on the Mkeka, which is the foundation, you put the Kwnazaa. On the Kwnazaa, you put 7 candles. 3 red, 3 green, 1 black. Each one of those represent a principle. Now, I get into the principles because I'm excited about the principles. Now, on the table, on up under the Mkeka, you have basically a tablecloth. You got the table. Then you got what's called the Mazal, which are the crops, which represents not just food that you're going to eat, but it represents the work that you have been doing since last Kwanzaa. All right. So you know how if you go someplace and there ain't a lot of food on the table, that lets you know that people ain't been hustling and doing what they supposed to been doing that year. So that mazal, the crops, the corn, all those things are supposed to represent the work that you have put in over the last year and helping build yourself and helping build your community and helping build your people. All right. From there, we got the vibunzi, which are the ears of corn. I don't know why I want to say mazal with that, but I guess mazal. All right, whatever. You got vibunzi, which are the ear of corn, and this represent the corn. The dried corn are basically seeds, and they represent the future generations, the children. So you should have an ear of corn for each children. Because if you look at the ear of corn, if you take all the corn off of that ear of corn, you got all those seeds that you go out and plant. So we not only have to be celebrating our past, we have to be celebrating ourselves with the work that we have done and we put the food on the table. We're also celebrating our children with the seeds of the corn. All right? Regeneration. From there, they got what they call the Mashuma Saba, which are the candles that you put in. I already kind of described those, and each one of those represent a principle, and you will light each one of those on each night. So on December 26th is a Moja, then the 27th, all the way up to the 1st, you got Moja, Kujichagulia, Ujima, Ujama, Nia, Kaumba, and Imani. All those are principles. We'll come back and talk about those. Ooh, I'm hot. I'm hyped. Now, also, you also have what's called the Pendera, which is the flag. And the flag is the flag that Marcus Garvey brought. But Malana Karinga flipped the flag, right? I won't go into that because I'm not a flag flipper. It ain't nothing negative, but they just see the flag differently they was looking at the flag differently when Milana Karinga started it. So they still got the red, black, and green, but it's green, black, and red. Or it's flipped. For me, it's always red, black, and green, and I keep it the way the Honorable Marcus Garvey kept it. But hey, it's cool. We spoke about the Kwnazaa. Then you got what's called. I was about to grab my cup like y'all can see me. You got what's called the Kikomba Cha Umoja. That is the unity cup. This is the cup out of which you pour the libations. This is the, before AIDS hit real big, it was also the cup of unity where you would drink and pass it around. But nowadays that is not really highly suggested. So just pour those libations and keep your unity cup within your family right now. You know what I'm saying? Now, I think that might be it. Oh, the last one is Zawadi. The gifts, right? You always have to have gifts. Now, you don't go to Walmart. You don't order them through what's that place? Amazon. These are gifts that you make or are made by our people. I'm going to hit on this hard. I don't want to offend nobody. But if I do, I do. I'm because we're gonna really get into these specifics. So the Zawadi should be either come directly from you or directly from somebody in your community that has a business. All right, because I'm gonna talk about why we need these cultural stabilizing holidays, not just Kwanzaa, but other cultural stabilizing holidays, because we're gonna get into some real nation building. Before I go any farther, and I like yelling. I get excited about this. Is it any questions or comments?
I have one question.
Go ahead.
So for each day, is there a color that's represented with each day? Like if it's 3 red and then 1 black and then 3 green, is like Umoja red, Kuji Chagalia, Ujima, those 3 are red.
Right. So start off now, depending on, because now this is being in the conscious community could be sort of like being in. Let me stop. I'm about to start. Yeah. So you have the red, and the green. You have the 3 red on. If you're facing, for us, if you're facing the if you're facing the Kwnazaa from the front, you will have the red on the right, green on the left. But then that also depends on, you got to know where you are, because some people will do it differently, because some people mix them up. I don't have some people with the, so when we do it with the red. So if you're facing the Kwnazaa and we're lighting it as a family and you're facing the Kwnazaa, for me, the red candles will be on the red. For you, it would be on the right. For me, the green will be on the right. So it depends. So then when the first day go by Umoja, we light the Umoja candle, which is red. Then on the next day, we go to green. Then we go on the next day to the red, back to the green, back to the red, back to the green. And on the final day, you light unity. No. Yeah, some people do it like that, but then some people will light the black candle first and use the black candle to light red, green, red, green, red, green. Oh, yeah, I messed that up. Yeah.
That was going to be my next question. Like, how did you light the candles? So you can start with the black and then
start with the black and then use that, because I forgot all about, start with the black and you use the black one, which is a candle of unity, to light all of the other prints. Right?
Now, is there a significance in the colors? I know that was a part of the Marcus Garvey flag, but what do those colors represent?
Red is for the blood of the people. Black is the color and the connection we have with the whole universe. Green, of course, represents the land of Africa. Then once again, being in the conscious community could be sort of like being in the gang, because depending on what gang you know what I'm saying, You know, so some people got other things, but basically red blood, black people, green land in some form or fashion. You know, some might get deeper, some might not get that deep. So, yeah. Any other questions? No? So I can go off? I got your
Yeah,
permission, Dr. Jax?
of
All right.
course.
So now, cultural stabilizing holiday. How important is culture to people? How important is culture?
A lot of people is actually fundamental.
A lot of people. How about black folk?
Oh, that's how we define ourselves.
All right, so now what culture do we define ourselves by now?
Well, it's something you just said a minute ago actually perked something into my head.
Urban.
And based on gangs, and based on your environment, and based on who you associate with, it can be defined different ways.
All right. And Mike said urban. Mike, can you go a little bit more in depth on that, bro?
Mark is from South Carolina. So Mark, I'm taking this from South Carolina, right? He done drank the water, he done ate the food. If there's a football team in South Carolina that I like, but I'm from Bama, most people from South Carolina say, they might ask, where do you live at in South Carolina? I don't live anywhere in South Carolina. Okay, so you rep teams in South Carolina, but you from Bama. Yes. To them culturally, because not saying Mark, but from them culturally, I give a better one. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. I've been to several Dallas Cowboy games. I spent a lot more money than Redskin fans here, and they live right here in Virginia.
Right.
You ain't from Texas. I don't have to be from Texas and like the Dallas Cowboys. Only 32 teams, my friend. I mean, there's not one for every state.
Right.
So, I like the team that I like. Well, you ain't from Texas, man. You ain't no Cowboy fan. So to them, in their mind, from an urban standpoint, you didn't eat the food, you didn't drink, you don't understand the environment, so you don't have a right to like something outside of where you come from.
So culture could be identified from where you come from. So you use the term urban. So
Yeah.
when you say urban, are you saying city?
I'm saying urban to keep from saying, I'm saying urban to keep from saying hood.
Okay.
Or ghetto.
Now, because now, in our conversation, I want us to be honest and I want us to be frank, because the culture that we currently are under, that has sway over many of us, and if not us in this room, over many of the young people that are coming up behind us, is a dysfunctional, dangerous, deadly, poisonous, from the pit of hell idea of who we are. What Kwanzaa not just Kwanzaa, but what cultural stabilizing holidays give us an opportunity to do is to not only remind ourselves about who and what we come from and where we are in this time and space, it also plugs our children into it. See, because now in our culture, and according to our culture, you know what I'm saying, a lot of it has been placed on us and is based in consumerism. It's not based on building us up. Going to the whole piece with Kanye West and Kyrie Irving, I don't know if anybody really understood what happened there, but a culture, and culture representatives got upset because Kyrie Irving shared something, and they basically cost this man millions of dollars. A culture got upset about what a threat that Kanye West could not possibly have carried out, and they shut him down. Now, one thing that Kanye said in an interview, Kanye said, "I don't dislike the Jewish culture. I'm jealous of the Jewish culture." I was like, you know, and I want y'all to really listen to that. That was brilliant, because what he was saying is, I'm jealous that, you know, y'all stay married. I'm jealous that y'all don't have abortions. I'm jealous that y'all take care of each other. I'm jealous that y'all keep business within your community. When we talk about culture, culture is something that is supposed to protect us. In fact, those of you who are Bible scholars or follow the Christian faith, Christianity is, or we can say, comes out of a culture, because what did God give Israel? If you look at the mandates and the commandments, those were cultural commandments. Culture is supposed to connect you to earth. Culture is supposed to connect you to the universe. Culture is supposed to connect you to your to your spirituality, and culture is supposed to promote your life. And a lot of us, we get so caught up into what we're being told is our culture. And our children are being told, and we have to start speaking up to our young people, let them know that ain't our culture. Excuse my language, that's some American consumerism bullshit that you're practicing. And it's very unhealthy. It's very unhealthy. So when we look at these cultural stabilizing holidays, especially ones like Kwanzaa, it gives us an opportunity to step back and really look at who we are, where we are, why we are, how we are. It answers all of those questions that they told you that you should answer in a paper when we was young. At least they used to do that. They ain't doing that now. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. And a lot of us, we just skipping right past that, because I want y'all to understand, Black folks are the only universal people.
What does that mean?
We the only ones that could fit everywhere and allow everybody to fit with us. Anything goes. So when you be hearing people talk about the universality, we're the only ones that practice that. It's certain things that in your culture that should be allowed and should not be. We set no boundaries. We set no limits. Anybody could do anything they want. I need to mind my business.
Yeah, that's true.
But that has only been true for less than 30 years. Because every last one of them got grandmamas who used to watch out the window and know everybody's business. Grandma, how you know all that and you ain't been outside now? They was minding everybody's business. If we don't mind, if we don't mind our collective business, if we don't mind the business that's going on in our neighborhood, crack houses come inside of them. When I mind my business, I allow a crack house to move next door to me. My business is not just my family. My business is my culture and my community. But we have allowed ourselves to be tricked into these silos.
So then what you're saying is Stephanie's body isn't Stephanie's body then?
Hell no.
Stephanie's body belongs to the community.
See, now, I'm going to go, because, see, that's even, Michael, why you always starting shit? But,
Yeah.
but I mean, I want y'all to think about this. I used to have a sister run around, and she'd say, Black women are the most unprotected species.
Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do
and
it.
I said, baby, listen. I said, listen. It would be easy for me to protect you if I knew, in a sense, what you was doing. You can't run out here and pick some of these niggas that you picking and expect Brother Hatim to jump up and defend you when you have chosen wrong. You didn't talk to me about the guy that you with until after you get done, to after y'all into it.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to protect you if I don't know what you're doing? So you are unprotected because you have chosen and you have bought into somebody else's. Matter of fact, it ain't even nobody else's culture, because nobody else moves like us. I want y'all to understand that. Nobody else moves like us.
Not at all.
We think that America was built by rugged individuals. I want y'all to think about that. Then I want you to think about the Rockefeller story. Then I want you to think about the Ford story. Then I want you to think about the Carnegies. and all these rich families, and how they run the world like thugs, like gangs. They are not operating by themselves. Rockefeller ain't go out and take over the oil industry by himself. He had a whole crew, and all those families is rich with him, and they move in wealth together. We think that we are able to make it, and once we make it, we move away from us and we get with them, not realizing that when we are with them, we become prey. Why? Because they start operating as a group against you. They're operating as a group against Bill Cosby. They're operating as a group against anybody that they, matter of fact, I want y'all to think about this. How many of us really die with money?
Go, get out of here.
All right.
Even after making millions of dollars, billions of dollars, how many of us are dying with money? You know why? Because when we isolate ourselves, we become prey. And guess who eats on us? Not our children. These principles and these cultural stabilizing holidays remind us about who we are. Put us in situations where we can find other like-minded people and start really doing some constructive development and some constructive building. We look at the very, oh, I'm sorry, I can stop.
No. I was actually clearing my throat, but I also wanted to add in here really quick was that you would think that the next generation of the Puffies and the next generations of the Ushers and the next generations of the Jacksons would have a leg up on the rest of us when they really don't, because as you stated, and to add to your point, where you were saying that once we ostracize ourselves, we become prey. Those individuals become prey also. And I think they identify it early, but they're not strong enough to go against their parents' grain. So it causes psychological damage.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I get satisfied with living my best life rather than what we talk about in Gye-Nyame, the best life. Our ancestors always talked about living the best life, not your best life, but the best life. The best life is living according to the principles, living according to the community and the tribe, so that you always got people around you. I know some people are toxic, and you don't want to take the toxic ones. The culture allows you to filter out who belongs and who do not. That's a powerful piece right there. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody don't belong. So, I was about to hit that first principle, and I just said everybody don't belong, and that kind of clashes. But in reality, it don't, because the first principle is unity.
I got pushback with that.
Go ahead.
I don't think that the statement is, I would not use the statement that not everybody belongs. I guess my question to that would be, what is rehabilitation? Because if rehabilitation is actually getting you back to a foundational stable point, so that you can, for whatever reason, cognitively be able to accept and praise and spirituality, is there really a rehabilitation point for Black people?
Yes, I would say there is definitely a point and a place of rehabilitation. But then the question comes, how do you evaluate whether a person has really rehabilitated or they're just playing the role to fit in?
The military teaches fake it till you make it.
All right.
So if that's the case, it just depends on your purpose and your pursuit.
All right, Mike, you a Marine.
Yeah.
You know somebody's a damn coward. Y'all about to go in battle.
Yeah.
He's faking it till he make it. You want him to your right?
Yeah. Yeah, I want him to my right.
Good luck.
I want them to my right. Somebody got to be able to absorb their bullets. I mean, I don't want it to be me. Don't you want me to come back to the show?
I do want you to come back to the show, but what I'm saying is he might not be there to absorb the bullets.
But he gonna get shot in the back because he gonna get up and run.
But
so I understand.
But hold on. You and I know that the enemy is not worried about wasting the first bullets on the ones that's running. I'm not worried.
That is true. You are absolutely correct about that. But I can pretty much guarantee you the person to my right, being the leader that I was, I got enough out of that person. Meaning that the other individuals that are on that line have already used that person as stimuli. So that being the case, I'm good with it. And I understand where you're coming from. And I from a civilian standpoint, they may not understand, but my thought process is that there is no real rehabilitation point for African Americans.
Now, this is where I will push back. I would say that culturally, when you plug into the culture, we do have places for individuals to demonstrate their rehabilitation. It's at some of these community Kwanzaa events. It's at some of these other events. It's why we got to have events. It's why we originally have churches, because people were supposed to come together and work, and people were supposed to serve each other.
Right.
Now, there are places for it, but a lot of us have isolated ourselves and are not in the places where people could come and demonstrate that, hey, I'm not the same person that you knew in high school. I'm not the same person that you knew when we was out on the streets.
Right.
See, there are points of rehabilitation. It's just a matter of us either plugging into them or creating them.
So what you're saying, Mark, this is where I'm at, right? So from a psychological standpoint, when we hit the shores of Jamestown, that was supposed to be that is the slave's foundational point outside of the Ivory Coast and the Middle Passage. So there has never really been on this land a habilitation point for us to read. So without going back to the Mecca, without being cleansed through that particular situation where there is a habilitation, we're not going to find it here.
Well, can I ask a question? Real quick, was it ever our purpose to find the presence here?
Oh, see, once now, you got to understand, Black folks have always been traveling, regardless of how we travel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even our West Asian cousins, distant cousins. I challenge anybody, because now I'm ready. I got $100 in my pocket right now for anybody that could prove. Because this how powerful the mind is. I give anybody $100 right now that can prove that there's a European continent. Show me a place called Europe on a map.
I think you're gonna keep them $100.
I know you is.
Yeah, I think those are.
So going back to what Mike is saying, right? West Asians have been able to fool the whole world to get our kids and get some of us, even up to this day, arguing about Europe and Europe being a continent. When Europe is nothing but an extension of Asia. It's nothing but West Asia.
Mm-hmm.
They have been able to make home wherever they went.
Right.
We have the same ability. And if you look throughout our history, through America, if you just want to, because we can isolate it to just America, anywhere we went, we set up habitation. Now, that place might have been disrupted. That place may have been destroyed. Or that place may have been surrendered or betrayed. But we have always set up places of habitation, as Mike said, because in order to rehabilitate, you got to first have the habitate, I guess, right? Is that the point you making, Mike?
Yeah.
We have always set up places. Always. I mean, hell, because y'all just mentioned South Carolina, I think it's some swamps down there. Is it swamps?
Yes, sir.
It's more than swamp. It's more than swamps down there.
Don't do that.
It's more than swamps down there now.
But listen.
But don't get me started. You go ahead and do what you're going to do, presenter.
Ain't the Great Dismal, is it a Great Dismal Swamp? What is it called? Down in South Carolina? Great Dismal, or it's a big swamp. How many of y'all know that there was maroons in those swamps? You had black folks who had escaped slavery and built towns in these swamps.
Yeah.
And
that's what schools do now.
That's what who?
That's what schools do.
What you mean what schools do?
If you look at most schools in a lot of states now, they'll take swamp property and actually build schools on top of it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because the land is cheaper.
Hey, but I'm just saying that we will go into the swamps and learn how to live in the swamps as communities and go back and raise some of these plantations. But we don't hear that. See, because it's important that we always stay the loser. It's important that we always stay the defeated. It's important that we always stay at this point of where we are, where now our children could do some of the stuff they doing, and we just throw our hands up. Not even realizing and connecting that some of the spirit that some of these kids have is being misguided. Because we're not plugging them into the culture. We're not plugging them into the principles. They have no idea about Umoja. You know what I'm saying? Or how to apply the idea behind it. They have no idea about Kujichagulia. So somebody could call them a name and they could be depressed, not realizing that Kujichagulia is about self-definition. Family definition. I set the definition on you. The world don't set the definition on you. The culture is supposed to set the definition on you. We don't talk about collective work and responsibility or Ojima. Collective work and responsibility. As a matter of fact, we're trained out of collective work and responsibility because if me and Mike were in class together and I was collectively working with Mike, you know what they call that?
Cheaters.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not allowed to work as a collective. So they got certain things within their system set to break us down from doing stuff that we have always done. We didn't build pyramids. We didn't build what we built prior to them coming by us operating as individuals. We built it as us operating as a collective.
Yep.
So truly by definition, we are survivors.
Oh, not only are we survivors, we thrivers.
Yeah.
Survivors.
If some of us are old enough to remember a lot of this world before a lot of this modern stuff, and our grandparents and our cousins down south, they lived a good life.
Yep.
You understand? It might not been the happiest, but according to the standard of the time, they were able to live. They lived good in oppressive situations. They made it look good. Why? Because these principles were in action, and all we had was each other. But once we got everybody else, see, because another thing, because this is another piece, they throw this on us. This is what I mean by us being a universal people. You can't say a black agenda. You can't say stuff been done to black people no more. You gotta say black and brown or black gays. You can't just speak about black people. It's offensive to everybody's ears. It's offensive. So we need these spaces where we could talk about this and we're able to really share and we're able to build upon these ideas. And that's Malana Karenga did, was when he structured this whole piece, he gave us a place, a sacred space and a sacred time, which are two of the most valuable things. People think that it's about money, but it's not. You don't want to pass money down to your children. You want to pass down space and time to them. Yeah. What do you mean, Brother Hatem? You want them to have space to operate. Many of us came in with limited space to operate in and limited amount of time. You know, black folks, like for example, our children don't get as many chances to mess up as other children. Part of learning is making mistakes and messing up and fumbling. On the football field, we give them plenty of time to be able to practice the skills to become the best. They're able to make their 10,000 mistakes to move to mastery on the football field or the basketball field. But when it comes to schooling and come to the real life type stuff, we don't get that many chances.
Yeah.
We don't. So we want to be able to provide our children with time and space. A safe space where they can learn and the time to develop the levels of mastery. I'm scared. I'm scared because I honestly believe that my generation might have been the last ones that was able to carve out any time. Because right now, the way life is, you hit 18 and you almost have to be on go. I had a little bit of time. You know what I'm saying? I'm just praying that my children have time. This is why one of the things we got to stop in our culture is telling our kids, when you're 18, you need to get out. We need to change. We need to change the whole paradigm of what it means to be grown. Because in certain traditions, for the young ladies, you wasn't leaving the house till after you got married. For the young men, actually, how many of us believe that we was properly prepared for life at 18? I thought I was smart. I was the stupidest. In our culture, you did not become a man, right? You did not become a man damn near into your 30s. There was some way that you had to prove your total manhood. And if I did take you out of my house, I will build a house near where I live so that I can help you in managing your place, managing your time. But now we just like, when you're 18, you can now. I had so many disagreements even with people in the culture about that, because I remember one time I was talking with a teacher, and I ain't gonna say what he was teaching, but I told him, I'm not rushing my child to get out. What? You gotta get no, nigga. You stay over there and teach what you teach. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Keep your mouth up off my son. Period. That's for me and that's for my tribe. If I tell my son, I said, dude, as long as you ain't doing nothing stupid and disrespecting the house, you leave when you get ready. As long as I got a space, you got a space.
That's right.
But many of us want to live our best life rather than the best life. Because Africans, or if you look at us culturally over the continent, we are people that we live generational lives. This individual life piece, this is not us. We live generational lives.
Define that, generational lives.
We live lives by generation. And we understood that in some form of, for example, if you look in certain African traditions, even in some traditions in our own families all the way up to this day, you will have elders that will look at children to see which ancestor came back. Think about the difference in mind state when you know that you're coming back to your family. You're not just reincarnating like the Indians talk about. You're not only going to come back, but you're coming back in the very same family. Imagine the mind state that will put you in. So if I leave my family, excuse my language, if I leave my family fucked up, guess who's gonna have to come back and fix it or come back and live through it?
Oh,
Same person.
Think about.
So you're saying each generation is a monolith?
Each generation. Well, I don't know if that would be the proper term. What I'm saying is that each generation is responsible not just for handling their business in the now. They have to handle business so that the now can be expanded to the future generations. If I mess up my now, I'm gonna have to come back and deal with it.
So then that's hell then.
If you're wasting your time, yes. I want you to think about this, Mike, because you get the rewards of your life. If I set my family up and I do what my culture tells me I'm supposed to do, provide my children with space and time, and they become proficient because they saw me being proficient, what happens when I come back in that family as a child?
Yeah, or the other way around.
That's
if you've done your fruits, you're coming back to a heaven.
Exactly. If I've been molesting, drinking and beating, being disrespectful, and this is the image that I passed down, what do I come back into, Mike?
You come back to your own soup.
Think about the mind state with that. These are some of the things. These are some of the things that we dropped when we start unplugging from our culture, and that don't even necessarily conflict with some of the stuff that some of us have on the spiritual side, because all that's saying is I need to be able to handle my business. I'm supposed to be doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing right now. Many of us waste our moments. Many of us waste our time, not even realizing that we're sinning against our future generations.
And then also, when you marry into somebody's hell, you in somebody else's hell. Right? So that's why you're supposed to do your research before you lay down with folks in order to make a determination of whether you want your bloodline to go that way or you want your bloodline to go the other way. Because I think at some point, all the hells and all the heavens may meet up.
So question.
Go ahead.
So how do we change this outlook when today's society is built on self-reliance?
Now, see, first off, we got to break down that fallacy. Today's society is not based on self-reliance.
Okay.
That's the illusion. What's that crazy white boy name that owned the car company that just bought Twitter?
You talking about Tesla?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
How independent is he?
He's not.
How about Jeff Bezos? How independent is he?
He's not.
So this world is not based on individual merit. So first off, we got to break that down. And we got to expose that lie. And then we need to teach our children, listen, you need to build your team, your tribe, your crew, whatever you call it, and understand to put the best people in the best places so that you can have people around you, because we come up together. I ain't saying we got to take everybody, but all of us should have some type of clique that we are friends with that can help us move in a powerful way. And we always need that one crazy cousin.
Or crazy brother.
Do that.
But I wanted to go back. I wanted to go back to Mike's point before Mike said, but think about this. Because Mike said, lay down. See, when it comes to those type of relationships, think about this. In most cases, we were not the best person. If we was involved in those situations, we were not the best person to do that research. Our family was the ones that used to do that research.
True.
You know, until it got too spread out, because, you know, who that girl I seen you with, that's such and such. Is her grandmama name?
That's Rita Lawson's boy, Rollo.
That's Rita, right. That's Rita Lawson, Rollo.
Tell me who her people are.
Exactly. I need to know who they are, because they was trying to save us from, as Mike called it, marrying into hell.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's the case, I'm going to play devil advocate to my own point. So if that's the case, that means that Jewish individuals or Jews, their traditions keep them insulated so that they don't have to stay within the same environment. Their traditions allow them to move throughout the world, but it's seemingly a monolith then.
Yeah. And what's wrong with that?
Well, that's what Kanye admired about it.
Well, yeah, and a whole bunch of other people. As a matter of fact, a whole bunch of people took time to demonize them because of how they choose to live according to their culture, which they say was handed to them by God.
Okay. So when I was on YouTube a couple weeks back, there was a Jewish female, I would say a Jewish woman, that gave the outline of how they cancel people. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't see that.
That there's a group of like 50 elders that they pick from each one of the communities that are educated, obviously. And they do all of the research on you and your life and your family and everything. So when they do, I don't know if you guys are familiar with law enforcement. So when you are interrogated, they already have what they need from you. They just want to see if you're gonna lie.
Yep.
So what the Jewish individuals do, they already have all of the information to cancel you. If I'm not mistaken, she communicated that they give you the ability to have a way out, which meant that you would have to sell out in order for you not to be canceled. Meaning that you would have to disavow what you already believe in, and then they're still gonna punish you because they're just that dug in, and they know they're just that dug in, but they give you a way out. So obviously they came to Kanye because he said they did, and we were acting like we didn't believe him when he said they came to me. So people began to think of him saying, okay, from a psychological standpoint, they came to you in a dream. They came to you, you know how we perceive, or we have perceived Kanye, but they came to him and they gave him his way out. And instead of him taking his way out, he decided to keep going. And they chose to, to handle the affairs the way they have handled them in relation to his particular situation. But what I'm saying is the elders. So how far away are we? We are this far away. The street that Mike Brown was killed on, the average elder age is 28 years old. I won't even allow a law enforcement personnel to talk to me that I feel like is not old enough, especially if he feels like he's communicating to me as if we're on the same level. I would rather just talk to a magistrate. So I don't believe that there's too many things that a 28-year-old could talk to me about and tell me about, if that is the true age between 28 and 32, that they could tell me about, that I would be willing to listen to, as far as a constructive way of doing things in this life. Now, I'm not talking about as far as software, helping me out with my cell phone. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about from a constructive standpoint, especially if I don't live in their community. Right. But because I am a sociology major graduate, I don't know how you're supposed to say that.
Mike, you practicing ageism. That's ageism.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to be clear, because that's how they come at you with that. Oh, so you can't listen to somebody younger than you.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I don't think there's too many Jesuses that are carpenters at the age of 12 that have already been ordained and have studied to a certain point to where we can have that conversation.
But now but hold on. I want to be clear about this. You're not even talking about somebody studied, because there are plenty of people that are studied at 28 that might know a lot of book knowledge, but when it comes to life, they know nothing.
Right.
You're talking about eldership.
They don't know enough. They don't know enough to keep talking.
Well, they don't have the experience. They could keep talking.
Right.
We both know vocal 28 years old. Hell, vocal 22-year-olds.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They could keep talking, but they don't have enough experience that you can really relate to. But go ahead and finish your point.
No, I mean, I'm done. What I was saying was, and I think I lost my point, but
I got you.
So I just think that we're not in a position to cancel. So I'm concerned about this, because they say that we spend $2 trillion a year as Black people who only have 3% of the companies in this country. So you're telling me that trillions, hundreds of billions of dollars is flowing through the hood?
Yeah.
Because 25% of our population is on welfare. That's 15.2 million. 25% of our population is on welfare. So I'm reaching out to an additional 45% of our population that is low income and poor.
Mm-hmm.
So that leaves 35%.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Only 3% of the businesses in the United States are African American that have employees.
You know, but you can't count those. I'm just saying. That's not so you gotta go to the ones with jobs.
You're telling me from impoverished to the furthest extent of poor in as far as Black folks go, we are spending that accounts for $1 trillion?
Yeah.
Hold on. Now let me help you out. Now, this brings us because I did Ujima, and Mike, you have brilliantly brought us to Ujima, which is cooperative economics. Now, a lot of people hear economics, they only think about money. Let's talk about what it is really about. It's about cooperative. It's about using our resources cooperative. Now, Mike, what you're talking about is, because I want you to find the figures for other groups. They don't have a lot of those figures for other groups, but they sure know how much Black folks spend. But I want, this is where we go wrong, because we say we spent $2 trillion. I want everybody in our group to look at your monthly expenditures. What are the largest monthly expenditures that you have? And you can look at what we're spending our $2 trillion on. And you don't even have to look. Let me help you out. How many of y'all got cars? You got a car payment? Oh, praise God. All right, we can throw the car payment out. All right, cool. How many of y'all got houses? Or rent apartments? How many of y'all pay rent?
Yeah.
What portion of your income is rent? Now, you can't have an apartment without electricity. You can't have an apartment without gas. You can't have an apartment without water. So that shows you where some more of that money is going. Right? So we start hearing people talking about all the money we're spending money on things that we need to survive. And I know, well, explain the shoes. Explain the shoes, explain the cell phones. Those are the only things that we could actually, how can I put it? A lot of our people, since they're trying to fit in and feel special in some form or fashion, or even make their children feel special in some form or fashion, will give their last to make sure that their children are able to do it. And they ain't buying those cell phones straight out.
Nope.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We need to be honest about this. So yes, $2 trillion are moving through our community, but it's not moving in the way that a lot of people want to claim. We're not out here doing a whole bunch of frivolous spending. Even those of us that smoke weed, smoke cigarettes, and drink a lot of alcohol. The majority of us, 85% of us, are not spending money like that. We need to be honest about that.
And I'm glad.
So are we also counting the full balance of the credit card too?
Damn. See, you can count the full balance, but the credit card is not your money. That's borrowed money.
Well, that's what I was asking, because a lot of people are swiping, and it's not. Well, a lot of us are swiping, and is that part of the $1 trillion too?
Yes, because it's spent, and they trace it back to you. And we are the only community that our money is monitored like that. As a matter of fact, a lot of these estimates, you know what I'm saying? Because nobody can ever tell me when they say, you know, the dollar only goes one time through the Black community. And you ask them where they get those guys, where you get those numbers from, my friend? I don't know.
Well,
that's
what I was wondering too.
And then if asked, not to cut you off, Michael, but to cut you off or to add to what you're saying. So then, Tim, based on what you said, who's monitoring? How are they actually being accurate with those numbers? how do we know that the number of $1 trillion or $2 trillion is the actual estimate of money that is supposed to be being used or spent by us? I'm very concerned about the numbers. I'm very concerned about who's reporting the numbers and who's calculating the numbers. Like, how do we know, and who is that? And to whose benefit does it serve for those numbers to be calculated in such an ostentatious way? So for example, the $2 trillion, just like you said, we're being monitored. Those $2 trillion, all of everything we spend is for us to survive, but they want us to believe that the larger community and the powers that be want the world to believe that we just got so much money that we just spending willy-nilly. But like we're saying here, we're not spending willy-nilly. Every penny of the money that I have goes to survival, and it's not, again, ostentatious. And I'm not the only one. That's all of us. How much money do we have in savings compared to the other groups?
Now, what's crazy about that, if you look at the numbers as far as savings, Black folks is better than a lot. But they don't tell you that. We save better than everybody else. In fact, believe it or not, we father better than anybody else. But according to everybody else, this is because other people are telling our story, which is a misuse of one of our major resources.
Yep.
We're not telling our own story. We're not collecting the numbers. We're not looking at the data until recently. Right? But we allow other people to tell our stories, and then we'll run with the story without even saying, I'm going to fact check you, bruh.
Yep, exactly.
I'm going to fact check you.
And even in terms of healthcare, I was just doing some research today about the disparities within the Black African American culture in terms of healthcare. And one fact that has not left me, and I was doing this research early this morning, it's been on me all day. Did you know that if health equity, did you know that if health was equal between Blacks and whites, then every year 100,000 Black people would still be alive? If Black people had the same access to health as white people, there would be an additional 100,000 people still left alive, which means that percentage that they say that we only represent 13.6% of the population overall. Imagine if over time, if those numbers, if those people were still alive, if things were equal, it wouldn't be 13%. That number would be a greater number. Why do you think they want the number to look so low? It's because of, and you could go ahead and fill in the blank. You could go ahead and answer that. It's because it's not a good look. It's because someone else is telling the story. Someone else has a microphone.
And the story is a major resource. When we talk about Ujamaa, who controls the story? See, because I want y'all to think about this. How many Black stores are in our communities now? Because other people done heard the story that other people are telling, and they come in and they buy this. They bought all those people out a long time ago, and they ain't letting them stores go. Why? Because we need the little small things to survive on. We're not buying chips because I like chips. The majority of us, and when you go to the hood, I'm buying chips because I ain't got transportation to get somewhere else to get something better. I'm hungry.
Food deserts.
But now, once we start plugging into the culture, it gives us an opportunity to step back and start looking at it and take people information that might be a little bit more open. Why? Because they hear African drum. Why? Because they hear somebody talking some sense, and they're wondering if they could get their child possibly in a program that can help their child live a little bit differently than they're living right now. So it's important that we start plugging into these. So this piece, because one of the things I put on Facebook was, I want to talk about the Kwanzaa holiday, but I want to talk about living the Kwanzaa life. Taking these principles and applying them on a daily basis. This is why in Gye-Nyame, you know what I'm saying, when I'm talking to one of my tribe members or even with Dr. Steph, I could be like, yo, Steph, we're going to have a meeting on need. You understand what I'm saying? Why? Because I took the day of the week, got rid of it, and I said, boom, I'm replacing the day of the week with my principle, because every time I say that day, I want to pay homage to myself, to my creator, and to my people. And remember that principle. and it gives me an opportunity to work with and see how else I can live it. But Stephanie,
I was gonna say, Brother Hatim, here's what I would like, if it's okay with you. I know that today is our last session for the year, and then we're gonna start again, God willing, at the top of the year. Would you be available to share with us at the very beginning of the year more information about how we can break down the day? So, for example, Monday would be Umoja, Tuesday Kujichagulia, Wednesday Ujima, Thursday Ujama, Friday Nia, Saturday Kaumba, and then Sunday Imani. Could you, I mean, just to start off the year instead of waiting to the end of the year?
I already know all you gotta do is.
Okay, and then also, just for me, tell me the colors again. So, what is Umoja? What color are you? What color?
Hold on. Are you talking about for Kwanzaa or the way we use it all year round?
All year round.
All right. So Umoja is purple. Kujichagulia is it could be you could use blue, I mean dark blue, black, or indigo. Then we have Ujima is blue, Ujima is green, Nia is yellow, Kaumba is orange, and Imani, which we are on today, is red.
Okay, cool.
Now, for anybody that's interested to go a little bit deeper, you go to freegnjecourse.com. That's freegnjecourse.com. I got a free 7-day e-course that you can check out and jump in and get a better understanding of how to take these principles out of Kwanzaa, use them during Kwanzaa, but take them out of Kwanzaa and use them during the rest of your life, and to use them to help promote other conversations, because if we don't talk about it, we're going to disappear.
Yeah.
I don't know if any. Peace, family. Yo, thank you for joining us. Right, and I'm thrilled to announce the fact that we are now releasing our first free e-course. Come and learn about Gye-Nyame journey, see some of the stuff we do. Come and join the tribe up with us, and check out the free e-course. I'm gonna make sure that the URL pop up right about here, and it'll probably be somewhere in here. Check us out, family, because we are building. Come and learn about Gye-Nyame journey, and let's build together. What is a lion without his pride? What is a whale without his pod? What is a monkey without his troop? What is a wolf without his pack? The answer is very simple. They are the same thing that a human being is without a tribe. Pray.